Now, I don't mean to get political, but I'll give you one example. This is just a category, and then we're going to get into the story. Is it still true that there is a battle over leadership and who sits on the thrones of authority and decision-making, and there's still a conflict between God and government? Absolutely. I'll give you one modern-day example. Look not just at the story of Elijah, but through it. So I grew up in the state of Washington, met my wife there. We raised our kids there, and recently, the state of Washington was afraid that the abortion pill might not be readily available, so the state purchased 3 million abortion pills to hold on backstock. Okay? And just passed SB 5599. My phone's been ringing off the hook all week because we still got a lot of family and friends there. SB 5599 is this. If there is a child and they have gender dysphoria, take that down, I'll explain this and then we'll put it up. So if a child has gender dysphoria, and that is that your mind isn't congruent with your body. So if your body is male but your mind is female, or your body is female and your mind is male, you said, I don't feel congruent, I feel incongruent. That's called gender dysphoria. It's a mental disorder. If your child feels that way, the state has decided that you need to give them puberty blockers, hormone treatment for the rest of their life, which really alters their body chemistry, and also take them in for gender transition and genital mutilation. Literally castrate children. And the state has decided, if as a parent you say, we're not going to do that, then the state can seize custody of your child and you no longer have parental rights. So I've got people calling me, they're like, what do we do? Move. Move to Arizona, we'll take you. So you think about it, at the end of the day, the government is saying, you know what, we don't care what God says. Because here's what God says. We're made male and female, and if you're a parent, you raise sons and daughters, and the parents are responsible before God for the well-being of the child. And the government says, no, we disagree with everything God says, and now we have a war. And the question is, well, who sits on the throne at the school? Who sits at the throne at the state house? Who sits at the throne in the government? Who sits on the throne literally in the courthouse? It's a spiritual war. And so if you're a parent who says, no, wait a minute, we don't think that a child should be able to make a life-altering decision that'll never allow them to have children or normal marital relations. In fact, their crayons are still a major part of their diet. We don't feel like they're ready to make major decisions. Let's just wait. The state says, no, you have no rights or authority. And the same week as well, there was a study that came out. It's very, very interesting. It comes from the National Library of Medicine. The question was, does maltreatment in children affect sexual orientation in adulthood? Here's the first line of the study. I'll read it to you. Epidemiological studies find a positive association between physical and sexual abuse, neglect, and witnessing violence in childhood and same-sex sexuality in adulthood. Here's the study, non-Christian study. Today, teens and 20-somethings that are struggling with mental illness and gender confusion, it's because many, if not most of them, were abused and have trauma. They either were sexually abused, physically abused, or they witnessed trauma and abuse. And so wouldn't the healthy thing to be say, well, if they have trauma and abuse, let's get them some help and some healing and see if they're doing better and see if they think differently. No, let's seize their custody from their parents who can no longer care for them, and let's mutilate them. It's new days, but it's old demons. These are the exact same things that were happening in the nation of Israel. The government had overtaken the parents. The government had overtaken the church. The government had overtaken the economy. The government had overtaken the educational institutions. They closed all the Christian schools. They killed all the Bible teachers. They eradicated all the parental rights, and they brought demonism into the nation. The result is, when that happens, you have to practice civil disobedience. This is not where you're rebellious, you hate authority. It's where you recognize that God's authority is the highest authority, and when government goes against God, you need to go against government.
Howdy, Pastor Mark here. Thanks for viewing the clip, and if you'd like the entire sermon, we've got it ready to go.